Hello, hello, and welcome to our session today, everyone. It's so wonderful to have you all here with us today. Our session today is designed to answer your questions about how the Becoming a Conscious Creator series ties into existing pathways like the Pillars of Light and the Earth Keepers pathway. Many of you have been very busy with the pathway courses we've offered and are curious if it would enhance or benefit your existing training as Pillars of Light and Earth Keepers in service. So we're ready to do that for you, answer these questions. And just a reminder, this is the last week to register to catch our Becoming a Conscious Creator series live. It starts next Tuesday. We'll put links in the chats for you now, as well as at the end of the call. All right. I'll hand you over to Asil now, who will share more with us, and then we'll open it up to your questions that you can add to the chat throughout the call. Enjoy, everyone.
Good morning. Hello, everyone. It's good to see you all, I guess, energetically feel you, since you're not directly on my screen today. But welcome to all of you that are joining from YouTube, from Facebook, from my networks, from all the networks out there. We wanted to share with you how conscious creatorship connects to everything that we do. Evolution 1 was created under the premise that the guides want to support humanity in its evolution process, and most importantly, in its ascension process. Now, those are very big concepts. In order to make these concepts more clear and personally relatable to an individual, they gave us more achievable milestones. These achievable milestones, in this case, were individualized transmissions, very simple, achievable milestones, right? We talk about a certain topic, we dive deeper into a transmission, we receive the adjustments for that particular topic. And then they developed these, what we call pathways or course pathways. The concept of becoming a pillar of light, how important that is in life, and how important that is in humanity's evolution and ascension process. The concept of earth keepers, how that will fit in to the whole picture of humanity's evolution. And as some of you remember, because some of you came to us, joined us way early in the days. So there was not even a Pillar of Light theme in the beginning. We just called it Advanced Course because that's the way it felt like to us. And then it became the Pillars of Light pathway. And after the Pillars of Light pathway, the guides delivered the Earth Keepers pathway. And there was a bit of confusion because people asked, well, how does Earth Keepers fit in with Pillars of Light? And we shared, well, they're kind of parallel pathways that open up once we complete foundations. And foundations was this almost like entry-level setup, the entry-level shake-up, restructuring, reestablishing of our being in order to be able to enter these two pathways, Pillars of Light and Earth Keepers. And many of you did. Many of you did either or both. The majority of you did both because, as we had said many, many times before, Pillars of Light and Earth Keepers were complementary and were supportive of each other. So A person that is becoming in service to humanity as a pillar of light is or ought to understand how to operate the energetic fields that they're navigating through. And Earth Keepers is about navigating energetic fields, energetic spaces, just much more on a greater scale on Earth itself. But the concept of being able to remotely attune energetic fields and spaces and feel into them is a important piece in the Pillars of Light journey. And on the other side, someone who is doing the Earth Keeper's work in Pillars of Light, we learn on how to make our alignment stronger and stronger and stronger so that this alignment becomes an unshakable part of our being. Through this alignment, we can increase our capacity and request and transmit energy to individuals or to circumstances. And this strengthened capacity, the strengthened alignment, would serve very well in the Earth Keeper's pathway. So you can see that these two pathways, while they're being parallel and independently available to you, they were complementary. Doing one would support the other. In a similar vein, yet slightly nuanced, the guides introduced a conscious creator theme, maybe pathway. And it is interesting that the conscious creator pathway, in some ways, is correlatable or relatable to the self realization journey of a human being. And self realization, we've talked about a lot in Pillars of Light, we've talked about it for thousands of years in Buddhism and so on and so forth. So, self realization journey is not necessarily a foreign topic, but seems at times so much like a luxury thing to do. Oh, I got kids to feed, I got a job, I got work to do, all of this other stuff that we have to do as humans. What are you talking about? Self realization. It sounds very selfish. So, conscious creatorship is more than just creating a world for yourself, checking off the wants and needs that you have, which may sound selfish, which may sound a bit self centered. It is so much more than that. It's about creating collectively, collaboratively with other conscious creators a reality and energetic field that responds to how we are in our energetic alignment. Because the energetic field around us and the reality around us consistently responds, the universe consistently responds to how you are in your alignment, be that consciously or unconsciously. We are just moving that creative power we have from the unconscious space into the consciously aware space. And that is a powerful move. That is why becoming a conscious creator stretches across everything we do. That's why conscious creatorship is a theme relevant for a very new and early beginner, as well as someone who is quite advanced in their development. Now, our awareness, how much do I create my life? How much do I co create all the circumstances of my life? How much am I responsible for some of the challenges? How much am I co-creating with the world around me and with my relationships around me, this awareness is different for every single person. And some of you will be more aware on how you're creating that reality. Some of you will be aware, but maybe resistant. And some of you will be aware in certain moments, but unaware in other moments, or maybe denying in other moments. Conscious creatorship is a journey to empowerment, and the empowered individual is, if everything else falls apart, the empowered individual, the empowered you, is the key to humanity's transformation and to humanity's evolution. And that is a significant piece in what Evolution 1 offers, what the guides want to share with you. Becoming a conscious creator is almost a deeper and a higher level that wraps around all of the things we are offering as Evolution 1. Now you might say, well, I've gotten all these concepts. Okay, I get it. I've done the workshop, or I've done some of these like public transmissions around conscious creatorship. How much more can there really be? And then some of you may say, well, I'm really focused on becoming a pillar of light, or I'm really focused on becoming an earth keeper, and I want to keep that focus. And I feel like if I do this conscious creative stuff, it might take me away from my focus. And those are fair questions and fair concerns you may have, or confusions that may arise. Because ultimately, even the pathway on Pillars of Light, as well as the pathway on Earth Keepers, has elements of conscious creatorship in it. I'm sure you would agree. Even the Discover series that we offer has elements of conscious creatorship in it. We just don't call it conscious creators or conscious creatorship or the path to conscious creation. Now, the path to conscious creation has all these building blocks, as mentioned before. And we have just now dedicated a particular building block to conscious creatorship and conscious creators. We have dedicated a specific series to address what the individual steps are to become conscious creators. Now, this series is not by all means complete in the sense that you walk out of there and suddenly you can manifest things left and right, but I can guarantee you it'll make a difference as you become more and more consciously aware, as you become more and more resilient and aligned in your perspective, in your ability to receive your reality, see it more in more depth and more clarity. From that place, the creation of your reality becomes much more in your hands, in your heart, in your soul, in your mind, all of it together. And the conscious creation element is an important piece in being a pillar of light. Why? As a pillar of light, you will be in service one way or another. And when you are in service to the world around you, the world around you responds to you and to your energy. If there are any aspects within you that are doubting your ability, your power to create your reality, even in your pillar of light in service, the universe will respond to you with doubt, resistance, and fear. If in any part of you there are misalignments, and you enter this Earth Keepers in service pathway, you'll be able to do the things that you're doing, but there will also be the universe, or the Earth in this case, or society responding to you in a certain way. So while you are in service, you can amplify that service of pillars of light, of Earth Keepers, with conscious creatorship and the work that we're doing in this series. It's an amplification. It's a clearing and a more subtle and nuanced alignment of our consciousness, of our journey to empowerment, of our journey to co-creation, of our journey to collaborative creation. And why are we going to need this? Well, just imagine a single conscious creator can affect his or her, their own reality in a powerful way. Now imagine hundreds or thousands of conscious creators collaboratively synchronized, focusing their attention on the creation of a certain reality. That will have weight, and that will have results. And combined with what we have done in Pillars of Light, the alignment and the resilience and the capacity that we've developed to receive and transmit energy. In Earth Keepers, the way we have established our capacity to receive and transmit to attune places around the world. All of that will be affected by this collaborative co-creation energy that we are now able to almost consciously receive and consciously deliver. It's a new level of empowerment. Now, many of you have done years of work to get to Pillars of Light and to get to Earth Keepers in service. And here we are offering Conscious Creator Series to all of you, but also it's open to anyone who is just starting. You may wonder, like, why is that and how does that make sense? Because these people are just starting off on their journey, and we have been on this journey for many, many years. It's not the right match. And to some degree, you're right. There will be a greater diversity of people in Conscious Creator Series because we are keeping it open as the way the guides have recommended it. Everyone will receive what they're ready to receive in Conscious Creators. Someone who is new to the journey will receive exactly what they need so that they can step up a couple steps or the steps appropriate to their development. And everyone that has been in Pillars of Light or Earth Keepers will receive the appropriate steps of empowerment according to their individual process. So it is in some ways very uniquely delivered to your ability to receive and the state that you're in. Therefore, Conscious Creator Series is almost in its delivery custom tailored to the person's state of being. I hope this makes sense. And I'm sure there's more questions about it. And let me tell you this before we open up to questions. There are many ways to become conscious creators. There are many ways to self-realization. And many other ways are uniquely shaped. Some of them are uniquely proposed to you as elements of very simplified versions of conscious creatorship. If someone tells you, oh, I'm going to teach you to have more abundance in your life, I'm going to help you to create the love of your life that you want, I'm going to teach you how to manifest the dreams that you've always had, I believe all of these elements are important and probably work, yet they are narrow and they are kind of out of context. There's a much bigger picture that plays here that we need to see. Creating out of context is leaving certain parts of the unconscious space locked up and still unconscious. Until you understand why you want to create certain things, what drives you to create, and the state of being that we get into in these non-dual states, when these transmissions, allow us to almost release all of these wants and desires of the mind, even the wants and desires of the heart. And if we are really deep in these non-dual transmissions, even the desires and wants of the body are taken care of. Technically, we end up in a space where there are no desires and wants. So what does a conscious creator create if there is no desires and wants? And that's going to be an open question that I'm going to leave, and then we're going to enter into our Q&A. You see my cup, Crystal?
I
Explore.
love it. Very fitting for the experience that we are about to have, exploring consciousness. All right. Well, we did have some questions that were posed before this call, and you've done a great job in answering a lot of them.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
love how,
even know the
yeah.
question.
Well, some of them were, one of them was asking about becoming a conscious creator. Is this a new path? They've been doing courses back to back, and they were wondering. And you talked about how this becoming a conscious creator transmission series is a building block, is an application. It's a more subtle and nuanced alignment of our journey to empowerment, co-creation, and collaboration. I loved that. So,
Thank you.
yeah. So I think hopefully that answers the question about how the Becoming a Conscious Creator transmission series weaves into that. Do you want to speak to what we know and what we don't know, maybe about this new path that may be unfolding, the Becoming a
Yes,
Conscious Creator,
sure.
our Conscious Creator's path? Yeah.
Of course.
Okay.
So, conscious creators seems to be a pathway that's even longer and multi-stepped than Pillars of Light and Earth Keepers were. And it seems like that is almost like a internal long-term commitment that we give to ourselves for our development.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, Pillars of Light, and in terms of doing the courses and then being in service, was fairly small commitment considering spiritual pathways go, right? It's like half a year to a year. Someone could have completed a cycle and they could have been in service. And that's pretty amazing. And conscious creators is a bigger cycle in that way. But no matter how far you go in that cycle, you'll have great and long-lasting effect as the transformation will start to show itself in synchronicities, as the transformation will show itself in the way you respond to your reality, in the way your heart and your mind want to create a certain reality, in the way your relationships respond to you, and in the way you create your relationships in a certain setting, in a certain energy. So a lot of the way we are, the energy we hold, changes by walking this conscious creator pathway. And by formulating these series and by formulating future courses that at some point we will do, conscious creators becomes a conscious delivery of ours to you, rather than being embedded in Pillars of Light and embedded in Earth Keepers and embedded in Discovery series and so on. So it becomes a very clear and direct delivery to everyone. And there are things we don't know yet. The steps, as you may have seen in the Conscious Creator website, the landing page shows you each transmission has a theme. And these themes are steps to becoming conscious creators. And in this series, the guides are going to give us the high level teaser version of these steps. Because each step in itself could be an entire course by itself. And so what we're doing with the series is we're getting an overview of conscious creatorship. And we're getting that conscious creatorship almost like to becoming activated within us, because also the last workshop is called Activate.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be very interesting, because in a period of 5 weeks or 6 weeks, we get the full overview, but in their teaser versions, like mini versions of conscious creatorship delivered to us. And that's, in some ways an intensive.
Yeah, and I believe the guides have they first of all they were the ones that kind of shared these pieces, right, with us, which is how we came up with um, these overall topic or event names for the next couple of weeks, and that make up the transmission series. So they've given us a little bit of a hint into where we're going to go, and who knows? Do you think that those each of those will ultimately become like their own course? You have a sense?
That's a possibility, Crystal. I'm not 100% sure yet, and I don't want to lock ourselves into something that we can't get out of because we said it. We said it on a live stream. Possible, but maybe not. So I think that these topics and themes are very valid as like stepping stones and the building blocks of conscious creatorship.
Mm-hmm.
But also it could be that this is the journey to getting a high level perspective of it, like a lay of the land of conscious creatorship.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that feels right.
So it's a very structured way of talking about conscious creatorship, because I've been talking about conscious creatorship, in public events or a workshop here or podcast here.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a very structured way of delivering this conscious creator theme over a 6-week period.
Got it. Wonderful. It's like the taste. Let's see, what were some other questions? There were some other questions before this call about, is the program available? Is the transmission series available to those who are completely new to Evolution 1? And does it need an application like a foundations or a level 3 would? And you mentioned that that yes, it was open and available to everyone. So I just want to reiterate that. And it's been a while since we've had an opportunity for our existing community to invite others in to be on this journey with them. So we're really
Yes.
excited about that aspect. So I just want to highlight the answer to that question that you delivered a little bit earlier. And then there was one question about, how is the Friday community call, that's part of the community package, different from the Friday calls during the courses with Asil and George, which I think is a great question. So the Friday community call is going to be led by me, and it's going to be more of a realization share call, a sharing circle. There'll be a meditation. There'll be a discussion about certain aspects of the transmission that we'll have received the Tuesday before. But really, it's our opportunity to share and witness the community, share with and witness the community as we go through this new and special series. So we're on this journey together, and we thought, let's open it up so that the community can share with one another. So that is the difference between the community call that we have for the Becoming a Conscious Creator transmission series, and the ones that are in the advanced courses. So we spoke to that. Do you have anything else to add to that, Asil, before I move on to the next question?
Yeah, it's really interesting. The way we're delivering this is, we made these 2 editions because we've gotten some people that said, well, I live a busy life. I may be doing other courses and at the same time, and I'm working at the same time, a full-time job. So I want to have the least commitment version, but still I want to do it.
Right.
So we created this alignment edition for it, which basically delivers all the alignments, and you are on the path, on the journey, and in your own way, you will have to integrate at your own time. And for those that want the community support and the human interaction element, that's the community edition, so they can have that level of support that they would normally have. So there's 2 versions, and both of them are perfectly appropriate to what you need in this time frame. So, and also what I wanted to share is, this is open, and it may be a foreign woo-woo concept for some of your friends and some of your family members, right? But I can guarantee you, at some point, everyone in their lives will have to have a moment of reckoning, a moment of reconciliation, where they realize, how much am I responsible for creating the challenges in my life? How much am I willing to take responsibility for my life? And if a person is getting to that place of, oh, I'm really tired of being just, whacked around by life. I want to stand more strongly and more firmly and more aligned in my life. I want to become a conscious creator. I'm willing to take more responsibility and I'm willing to be more empowered as a result of that. Conscious Creator Series will certainly open many doorways for them. And that could be someone that is absolutely new to our work.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think in some ways, too, this is easier. At least I'm personally finding it easier to explain to people because people are people are used to the idea of manifesting, right? And while
Mm,
this isn't the direct um, interpretation of manifesting as is available in the world today, it's a concept that people can really get behind.
mhm,
And there's also a lot going on in the world, and so to feel a level of empowerment within all the things that are going on, I think people are attracted to that.
mhm,
So I find that it's very easy for me to talk to people about and invite people into the Becoming a Conscious Creator transmission series. So I'm excited to see how many newcomers are on board and want to discover this with us. All right, let's see. Okay, Asil, what's the
mhm.
difference that you can intuit or imagine now? What's the difference between this Becoming a Conscious Creator transmission series
Mhm.
and repeating foundations and pillars of light and Earth Keepers trainings as they become available again?
Mhm. Well, first of all, every time we deliver a new life course, it is magnitudes more powerful than the previous one was. So no matter what label we put on it, oh, this time it's foundations or this time it's like conscious creators, I can guarantee you the alignments and the adjustments are becoming more and more powerful and more impactful in the way they shift, transform, and empower us.
Mhm.
Things are getting very interesting. And in some ways, I correlate this increasing power and potency of the work to what we need in this world.
Mhm.
And if some of you haven't noticed, the last couple weeks, I mean, it was just like roller coaster energies left and right. And if you can ride it, it's good for you. If you can't ride it, you're going to be whacked around. And that's not easy. So we are being assisted in the ability to hold ourselves in the greatest alignment. So technically, all of the courses that we're doing are supporting this great alignment within you. Their approach and their delivery is slightly different.
Mhm.
And so we have currently not been delivering any live courses at the same time. They're always delivered one after the other. So technically, you could do them all. And there's a conscious reason why we are choosing to do it that way, so that you have an option and a choice to do one after another. And we even consciously put space and time between these courses so people have time to integrate.
Mhm.
So they are designed, everything that we're delivering to our community is designed in a way that as many people as possible can do it.
Mhm.
And yes, please consider Conscious Creator Series and consider Foundations in July and consider Earth Keepers later in the year. You'll notice that no matter what you do, there is a piece that adds to your alignment, to your realizations. And if you do enough of these courses and enough of these different pathways, you'll notice how the energy is different. We've had people in our first Conscious Creator workshop that basically said, wow, this energy is so different.
Mhm.
It's different than the Earth Keeper's energy because we were just finishing up Earth Keeper's level 3. And it's even hard to put this really into words and adjectives, but it is different. It's different, and it is approaching us and transforming us in a different way, ultimately leading us to the same space, which is alignment, self realization, conscious creatorship.
Mhm. Do you have a sense, like when you're visualizing the structure of a
Mhm.
course versus a transmission series? Does the container, does the energetic container look any different, or is it the energy that's infused into the container?
I think it's a bit of both. So the energetic container feels different to me. So in Earth Keepers, the energetic container really felt like it was connected to a lot of places around the Earth. Like I could really feel the connection to the energetic grid of the Earth. With conscious creators, it feels like very, very vast. So if we were connected to the energetic grid of the Earth, I feel more like connected to the energetic grid of the universe. Like I feel different stars and different star systems in this container. There's like a very expansive view that I have of the container. And it's already building up. And many people that I've spoken to that have already committed to the course, that they're like, oh my God, it's already started. Like I'm feeling it really strongly. And it's true. It starts the moment you make that commitment to join.
Hmm. Interesting. That ties to one of the other questions, and there are a lot of great questions that are being answered, that are being asked in these chats, and I find that these are going to be questions that are answered throughout the series, because they're asking about, can you speak to how this course is related to the elevated energetics of our current state of existence?
Mm-hmm.
Is conscious creatorship a purposeful and deliberate way or method, as some propose to create? I think we'll probably learn a little bit more from the guides about that. How can we
Mm-hmm.
minimize the impact of old programs and limitations on the
Mm-hmm.
ability to create? I feel like that's going to unfold.
Yes.
And how can we create a concept as collective conscious creators, such as integrity, coherence, etc.? That may be answered. So these feel more like conscious creator content that will probably unfold in the next 5 weeks. What do you think? Is there anything that you feel that you want to touch upon,
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Asil? Okay.
So, as you know, a lot of the work we receive from the guides is non prescriptive. There are wide and open concepts, and the way you live what you have received is by having that alignment, and you live that alignment. And therefore, the choices and the actions are deriving from that alignment of yours. Now, occasionally, we give you a step by step list of how to attune a site or how to receive and transmit an energy and so on. But that's more later in the courses where it starts to get towards being in service. Imagine we have so much programming and conditioning in our system. We operate in this world in a certain way. We believe certain things to be true, to be real, to be possible, and to be not. All of that programming is limiting conscious creatorship. Much of that programming is making conscious creatorship unconscious. So, this deconditioning, this revealing the power we hold within, is going to come with major realizations throughout the series. And these realizations are going to start to integrate as like big aha moments within. And almost by the sheer nature of these integrations, we're going to start creating certain things in our life that will be different and more consciously aligned to who we are. Now, of course, we can set certain meditations together or do some extra elements on how we can carry this momentum forward, how we can reignite the magic of the transmissions. But really, the transmissions by themselves are standalone. And I don't know what the guides will deliver or they will deliver in these transmissions. Maybe they will give us step-by-step, pieces, or maybe they will keep it more high level in general. But in many ways, I feel like this is gonna lay the groundwork and the fertile ground for becoming more empowered in our lives. And that will show itself in many different ways, in relationships, in the way we show up, in the way we respond to our reality, in the way we create.
Beautiful. Yeah, I love how we're going to be on this journey together. I loved how you talked about the aha moments that will unfold for each person uniquely. That's going to be really fun to experience. And we are here in the community to receive that, receive those aha moments, and witness you. There was one other question that I think would be great to answer, because some people will be coming to this new, and there are other types of concepts out there. So the question is, some other programs teach to go into the void or quantum field for conscious creation. How does this concept relate to what the guides teach about conscious creation?
Mm-hmm. That's an excellent question.
Yeah.
The guides don't really talk about the quantum field or the void in the sense, but they talk about a non-dual state of being, which I believe is very, very similar, if not the same thing. When we go into these non-dual states of being, and there is also like different levels within that. So in this pure non-dual state of being, we are beyond space and time, equals the quantum field. We are beyond identity, as in we are in the void. There's no separation. And in that space of non-duality, we are in full peace. There is nothing that you'd want from that place. If you're actually able to formulate a thought, you're not in there. You're further down somewhere where your mind is still working and desiring to do things. So you can't really create anything from the void. It's not possible. If you're truly in the void, that's where you are. You are one with everything and one with nothing. There is no wants and desires from that place. So then the question remains, well, why go to that place if you can't really formulate the things you want from that place? Well, something happens when we go into these non-dual states within us that is of great importance and of great power. When we go into these states, we start to realize, oh, that is available to me. There is a place within me that has everything that it needs, everything that it has ever needed. There's a place within me that is connected to all of existence, where I'm a representation of everything and nothing. And from that place, when I return back into this more dualistic way of being, or into a quantum space or an astral space where I have thoughts and I have understanding of separation and I have an understanding of this projected reality, the power I hold, the energy I hold is much more centralized, is much more here in the moment. As the guides have said many, many, many times for years, your power derives from the moment and your ability to bring your energy from the past, your energy projected into the future, into the very moment. When all fears, projections, concerns, unrealized aspects of our being dissolve to become here in the moment. And from that place of the moment, that great power that is present becomes available to us to create whatever we want. But it is first an element of becoming more conscious of who we are. It is first an element of, oh, am I trying to create this to avoid a trauma of my past? Am I trying to create this because society told me this is going to make me happy? Am I trying to create this in order to be higher status, higher external power, higher perceived by others, and so on and so forth? Because there is an element of the ego that will want to create as you're becoming more and more powerful. And that is something we have to refine. Not completely like diminish or squash, because the ego is an important element of our being, but we are refining the ego construct. And this refinement of the ego construct is almost like an embodying of these non-dual states in our being. So,
Thank you. Non-duality.
mhm,
And then there's one last question. Somebody's asking if this 5-week Becoming a Conscious Creator transmission series
mhm.
will be repeated live in the future. So are we going to do this? Are we going to hold this structure again live?
It's a good question. I do not have an answer for that yet, because we do not know. But we will make this series, once it's complete, available to everyone to do it again. And in fact, we will encourage a lot of people to do this before they do foundations, because we believe it's an important building block for anyone that is entering our universe here at Evolution One before they come to foundations. Because foundations is, as many of you know, it's a deconstruction and reconstruction. And for some people, it can be quite challenging or jarring to experience a spiritual transformational process so strongly, So it's good to go through the Conscious Creator series even before foundations, which is why we have set it up like this, right? We wanted to do Conscious Creator series first and then set ourselves up for foundations, which is going to be in July. So if you or anyone else is thinking of, oh, I'm going to take foundations in July, I think it's wise to consider this Conscious Creator series to do that before the next foundations in July, because they're all, rocket ships in their own regard, and they're all getting more and more powerful and more impactful. So it's good to do these stepping stones rather than skipping a couple stepping stones.
Great. Thank you, Asil. Thank you to each of us and each of you. Thank you to myself. Thank you to our team. And thank you to each of you who are joining today and all the questions that you asked beforehand and all the questions that you asked today. We hope you feel inspired to continue the Becoming a Conscious Creator journey with us. The series begins next week on April 9th. And on April 8th, we'll have an event to celebrate the solar eclipse, which is happening here in the States. And that's going to be a powerful usher into the 5-week journey of becoming a conscious creator. So we hope to see you there for both the event and the series. We'd love to have you. We'll put links in the chat for you now. And until then, we'll see you soon. Take care, keep shining your light, and thank you. Take care, everybody.
And thank you, everyone, for joining. Just want to leave you with this. From my personal vantage point, every course is unique and beautiful. I do feel a very fresh and new and very powerful energy with this Conscious Creator work. And I really hope that you don't miss out on this. It's going to be very special. And in many ways, every course has a new power to it. But the flavor of this feels so all-encompassing, feels so pervasive and omnipresent in all aspects of our life, that it's not just a compartmentalized element. Oh, this is my spiritual corner, and I do a couple things in my spiritual corner. It's my mystic toolbox. But conscious creatorship is becoming part of our lives, and so it will have an effect of all aspects of your life. So excited to see you there.
Well said.
Blessings.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.